The first thing that I'm going to take you through is our case management view and the type of information that we can manage when it comes from social media data. So this is a real big differentiation for us in the fact that we can absolutely manage data from whatever the source it comes from. So the first screen that you can see here is very much the case queue screen. So this is where all of the correspondence, all of the complaints that are hitting your business can be viewed and managed. So within this, we automatically generate complaint reference numbers as soon as they come into the business. No longer is this a manual task to actually assign numbers and identification to complaints. We can then also start to look up policy numbers and further information about the individuals actually complaining on the business. I'm just going to open up a case now and show you some of the capabilities and the functionalities that we have within this particular view. So the first thing of note is the icon here suggests it's a Facebook post, which means automatically content from social media can now be present within a case management system. So this brings structure to the response. No longer is it an unstructured response back out onto social media sites. We also capture all of that content and analyze it in real time. So we understand when this is a complaint. We understand when people are upset and need a response immediately. The next benefit is we can also send automatic responses back out onto these social media sites. So using our case view, we have the capabilities to let the system automate this before a human even has to get involved. What we can then start to do is offer some excellent customer service back to these customers. Basically, the first step is very much just a touch point, and then we can follow up with very specific information with them shortly thereafter. What I'm now going to show you is a slightly different view of this data that we're capturing via the case system. So this particular view is a combination of all of the complaints within the business and a few examples just showing you how our content analytics really work. So we can capture data from multiple channels, multiple sources, right across the web. So as you'd expect, the typical social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, for example. We can also look at email accounts, which I'll show you later on, and we can also look at wider web sources as well. So things like forums, blogs, wikis. And what this means is we can not only capture the direct mentions that individuals are sending directly to your organisation, but we can also look to capture those indirect mentions as well. So that general internet chatter that potentially you're missing out on. As I scroll through this list of complaints, what you can quite clearly see is there's various phrases, keywords that are being highlighted. This is where our sentiment and content analytics really comes into play. We not only look at keywords, but we look at the entire end-to-end phrase, and we can really start to understand what the customer is saying without them having to use words such as complain or complaint. We really start to understand what the customer is looking for. The final thing that I'll show you on this screen is all of the auto actions that we've taken place on these messages so far. So in this history of this case view, we have the ability to automatically categorize this message. So in this instance, we've identified it's a complaint medium and a complaint high. We've then taken a number of actions as it's a complaint high. We sent that auto response back that you saw in the case view. We've automatically created that case that also includes that auto response, and we've notified someone via an email internally as well. So really, without even having a human touch this, we've automatically done a number of actions, a number of critical business actions on these messages and content, which can really help amplify your business efficiency and your customer service.
So the real value here is most organizations will manually create a case through their call center when someone will ring them. This is differentiated that leveraging content analytics with case management, we're able to remove the need for an enormous amount of the heavy lifting at the front end processes. So you no longer have to load the complaint, create a case number, and initially go back to the customer. So the point that's been shown on the screen, not only have we received the complaint, but within 30 seconds of receiving it, we'd already replied back to the customer with the complaint case number, so they know that we're listening and that they've been recognized for response. So we're now going to do a second demo for you, lifting the game a little bit more to show you how a complaint can be processed, in this case using an email.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. So again, I'm going to go and start back in our case view. I'm just going to go back to the case queue here, and if I click on this case at the very bottom, what we can first off straight away see is we now have the little email icon, which would suggest that it's come in via a mailbox. So our solution can monitor multiple mailboxes within your environment, within your systems. You can have certain mailboxes, complaints management, or any other type of management that you're looking at. And again, all of this content is analysed and understood and classified by our content analytics engine. A great differentiation here, if an email also includes attachments, we can also start to bring those into the case and have them automatically populated within the case view as well. So in this particular example, just as it loads, we get an example of a very unhappy customer about receiving some overdraft charges. So they may have included some evidence, some further information that would go against these charges. As the case develops as well, new information can also be added into this system. So we define all of our cases and we process all of our cases using a checklist. So this is a defined business process that enables an agent to actually manage this content and this case all the way through to resolution. So the first checklist option may be to publish a letter back out. So correspond with this customer in order to get their approval to proceed. And all we have to do on the left hand side here is click the letter icon, and this automatically launches Word. So we have full Office integration, and the first thing of note is we have fully integrated our case management view into this. So all of this data, the consumer reference number, the address, the actual complaint reference number, has automatically been captured and brought from that case management view into this platform here. We can also bring information in such as the time and date as to when this actually happened, and we can then start to agree conditions of satisfaction. The final phase of this is being able to actually save this back to not only the case management view as a PDF, so it's uneditable moving forward, but it can also be sent to a print queue, so it can go multiple different ways within the business, again increasing efficiency. All of this information is completely stored within the case view, so as and when this progresses, if I can't complete this case at this moment in time, it can go back to the general queue, and then a further agent can come along and see exactly how far I've actually processed this case.
Now, a key value of what you've seen here is on the left hand side you'll see the word letter, and then email, fax and SMS. The differentiation is if someone comes to us with a social media query, we'll answer it in a social media response. If they come to us with a printed letter, we'll respond to it as a printed letter. So we are able to respond in the channel which they come to us, or if the customer requests a different kind of response, we're able to, where our procedures or policies say we must formalize it, we are able to use, for example, letters and emails. So we're now going to go into some of the reporting tools. Assuming that we've received it, we've responded to it, we've closed the case, there's very comprehensive workflow steps within that. We'll now show you some of the reporting tools and how you're able to use that to identify what really is happening inside your business.
Okay, so as Michael said earlier on, a lot of organisations do have some level of reporting, but it's very much a case of we received 2,000 complaints today, yesterday we received 1,700, therefore yesterday was a better day. They have no idea as to what the actual cause is, they have no idea how to actually analyse that data. As our case management system captures absolutely every detail relating to that case as it is processed through all the way through to resolution, we can start to extract that data and really provide a platform for organisations to drill into that information. So the first screen you can see here is very much an overall breakdown. So we've got reasons for the call, we've got issues, we've got transaction types, and what I really want to highlight here is the root cause analysis as well. So we can really start to understand what was the exact reason why this complaint hit our business. These dashboards also are completely drillable, so at any point you can click on any of these icons, click the green button, and you can start to view that data. So now I'm only looking at the root cause analysis information. I just want to focus on the external error data rather than other information within the business. We also have other ways of viewing this data. So we can position and customize this data no matter how the business actually wants to see it. So in this particular example, we're displaying it over a timeline view. So we can start to see the peaks and troughs of this data. So in this particular example, the days where it's a trough, you may say that is a weekend, whereas during the week they're actually particularly active. And again, depending on the data that's being captured and analysed via our case system will depend on what this next view looks like. We also have the ability to display all of this data in a number of different charts, a number of different ways. It really does depend on how the business wants to actually evaluate this information. So we can look at issue analysis, transactional type, resolver, or even core function analysis as well. And the very final phase that I'll just show you here is this resolver analysis. So we can start to understand as a business how your agents, how your caseworkers are actually doing inside the business. So up here we've got people such as Tara Johnson, who seem to be taking an awful lot of time to actually process cases, but don't seem to be contributing that much to the overall queues. What we can then start to do internally is understand why that could be. It could be a training issue, it could be she's brand new to the business, is just getting onto her feet. We can also look down here, we've got another person here who's actually seems to be exceeding with the number of cases they're actually managing and closing, and they're doing it in record time as well. So we can start to understand, we can start to question why this particular person is doing so much better than everyone else, and again adapt our business internally in order to really understand how we can improve and how we can deliver better customer service.
So going back to the first screen, really what we're able to do is start looking for trends within the business associated to why people are complaining. In this case you see here that in the middle it's completely incorrect. So they believe that 2,000 customers have said that they have been given incorrect information. The second lot is delays, where the amount of time it's taken to respond. So all of a sudden we're able to take tens of thousands of complaints in real time, advise what the issues are, why those issues are there, and start to address it. So for example, we know that the biggest issue is that it's completely incorrect. So if we go onto that screen there, it'll start to break out far more detail about what that's about. You know, the whole concept of, so what it says here that 318 people are saying it's a partial withdrawal, or where the system defects are, etc. Within inside a business, the company will understand what these complaints are about, how they meet their business requirements, what changes they need to make to procedures, processes, policies, measurements, education, management, service levels. So they know where to target to get the best bang for buck to reduce complaints and customer enhancements.